You should get certified right now. Don't want to, huh? Too much effort? Are you a typical IT pro who feels entitled? So don't be that guy and listen up. My goal in this video is to help you look at IT certifications in a different light, assuming that is you have a negative view of them, and to explain not only how they can change the trajectory of your career, but also make sure that when recession hits, that you're in a good position to compete in a tough market, where there are a few open positions and lots of people looking for work, should the worst happen and you lose your job. Russell here, editorial director of Petri.com in this life and IT consultant in a previous one. So the first reason why you should get certified right now is because not only does HR look for certifications on your resume, but so do recruiters. Now, of course, recruiters don't really understand all the technology that you claim that you work with, but they're looking for you to prove that you understand that technology and can work with it before they will put you forward for an open position. So if they don't find these critical certifications on your resume, then you're not even going to get your foot in the door. And especially in hard times, we may have a recession just around the corner. There are, of course, lots of people looking for jobs and there are fewer open positions. It's not like today when you can really pick and choose which company you work for because IT professionals are in so much demand. When recession eventually hits, and it will, of course, eventually, there will be a different situation completely where you end up having to compete with everyone else on the market. So the key takeaway from this is it's not only HR departments looking for these certifications, but also recruiters. The second reason, of course, is connected to what I've just said, and that is that you should stand out from the crowd. If you stand any chance of getting a job in a tough market, you need to differentiate yourself from everybody else that's applying for the same position. And that's really hard to do when you're not sitting in front of the person that's going to interview you, because you don't have that opportunity to persuade them verbally that you're the right person for the job. And your experience alone does not entitle you to get a job. In my mind, anybody that's worth their salt and has been working in IT for some time should have at least some current certifications. It shows that you care about what you're doing and that you really want to understand and do the best that you possibly can in your current or any future role that you might take on. The third reason is that doing IT certifications really helps to make sure that you understand the concepts and you're able to apply technology solutions to business problems. It's not just about click here, do this, do that in order to get something working. It's about making sure that you're applying the right solution to the business problem at hand. And many IT professionals are not able to do that. And at the end of the day, IT certifications help demonstrate that you can do that before you get to interview. And of course, you can talk that up when you do finally get offered interviews. A good example of this is a very large international shipping company that a few years ago had a complete disaster with their Active Directory and lost their entire Active Directory estate. Now, if you know anything about Active Directory, of course, you will understand that it's the identity management solution that really provides the access and authorization to everything within the IT infrastructure. So if this goes down, then access to everything else also disappears. Now, this IT department actually thought that replication in Active Directory is the same thing as backup. So when disaster hit, they didn't actually have a working backup of any of their domain controllers. And this was a huge problem because they thought, well, we've got replicated database to some other location. But of course, when problems hit one domain controller, they were replicated around the entire forest and they lost their Active Directory. So this was a conceptual misunderstanding that replication is the same as backup. And anybody who's been through those Microsoft certifications for Active Directory will understand that, backup and replication are definitely not the same thing. So the fourth reason is that if you're learning something, if you're learning a new technology, then you can use certification as a goal and to provide you with a structure to your learning. Of course, you can just dip in and out and do whatever you want kind of ad hoc, but in order to make sure that you really understand everything that's important, if you do, a Microsoft exam, an Amazon exam, or whatever it might be, they will make sure that you cover all of the important bases so that when you do get a job, you're ready to be confident in that job and make sure that you understand everything that's really important. So you can use it to help guide the learning process. And today it's really easy. When I did my first sets of certifications, probably more than 20 years ago now, there was no cloud. Virtualization required a really powerful computer that I certainly didn't have access to. So in order to learn, the actual basics of networking, I went to the local computer fair. I bought 2 old PCs and a network cable. Probably cost me, the best part of £200, and physically connected the 2 computers together and just learned how to make them talk. And then from there, I built it up by, adding, Windows Server. It would have been NT at the time, creating a domain, understanding all of that, understanding file permissions, and I physically had to go out and make that happen with actual PCs. But today, of course, you just need your notebook, a couple of virtual machines, and you can just do it without having to invest anything extra. And of course, the cloud, you can sign up for an Azure trial and get so many free hours and access to resources there. And, you have access to all of that enterprise level technology that I could have only have dreamt of when I first started out in IT. So, there's no excuses. There's lots of learning resources. Obviously Petri.com has got lots of useful information. There are companies like Pluralsight that you can sign up to, offering loads of online courses. It really is easy today to go through this certification process, certainly much easier than when I first started in IT. And the fifth reason is, if you do pass these certifications, then it should give you the confidence to go onto the job and actually know what it is that you're doing, that you're implementing things in the right way. So, you could argue that AD replication kind of gives you a backup copy, but it doesn't actually if disaster hits. It's, a way of achieving something incorrectly, if you like. And lots of people can just make things work by randomly clicking here, clicking there. Oh, it works. But maybe that's not the way that it's supposed to work. And that can lead to problems in the future in terms of, performance, security, adapting and growing the infrastructure that you implemented if you didn't understand the concepts and how to implement it correctly right from the get-go. It'll also give you more confidence in interview because, the interviewer might ask you questions, and if you don't really understand what it is that you're doing, then of course the likelihood is that somebody else is going to get that job. So of course lots of people will argue, well, the certifications are a little bit worthless, they just take you through learning things and memorizing stuff, people are cheating using brain dumps or whatever. But if you actually learn the material, actually get hands-on practical experience, whether that be with, virtual machines or in the cloud or whatever it is that you need to do, you're going to be in a much better position to get a job. So, of course, it's not just about the piece of paper. You do actually have to do the learning as well. And a good interviewer, of course, will try to find out, did you really study? They won't just take your piece of paper and take it for granted. Oh, yes, this person knows exactly what they're doing. Of course, they're going to try and really make sure that you do understand what it is that you're talking about. So yes, the certification is just a piece of paper, of course, at the end of the day, but it helps to get you to the interview, to that first step, and then be confident that you can actually answer the questions that the interviewer is going to put to you. So a piece of paper by itself, of course, is not enough, but it's a great start. So don't be that guy who doesn't do their certs. Go out and get your certifications now to make sure that you don't end up on the scrap heap during the next recession.
Snap out of it!
So let me know please in the comments below, what certifications do you have? Are you currently working on gaining any new certifications? Or maybe I still haven't managed to convince you of the worth of certifications, so also let me know why in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it if you give this video a like, as it helps to distribute it wider, get more people seeing it on YouTube. That would really help me out. I'm also going to leave you with another video on the screen now from Petri that you might find useful, so please check that out. That's it though from me today, and I will see you next time.